Ellis and Neriel, a diplomatic love story. Ellis Merritt had prepared for this moment for 5 years, learning the complex tonal language of the Thori, studying their customs, and understanding their sacred beliefs. Yet nothing could have prepared him for the breathtaking beauty of Selthoria itself. The capital city of Veilshar rose from crystalline plains like frozen music, its spires catching the light of twin moons and refracting it into patterns that seemed to whisper ancient secrets. "They're ready for you," his assistant Julian said, breaking his reverie. "Remember, the Thori value precision in language above all else." Ellis nodded, straightening his formal diplomatic uniform. As Earth's foremost xenolinguist, he'd been the natural choice to lead these critical negotiations. The preliminary colonization of Seloria's uninhabited southern continent had gone smoothly, but recent misunderstandings threatened the fragile peace. The Grand Council chamber hushed as Ellis entered. 12 Thori councillors sat in a semicircle, their iridescent skin shifting colors with their emotions, currently displaying cautious blues and weary purples. Their eyes, large and expressive, followed his every move. "I extend greetings and peaceful intentions to the honored Council of Veilshar," Ellis said in flawless High Thori, including the precise throat clicks that most humans found impossible to master. A visible ripple of surprise passed through the council. One figure at the center leaned forward, her skin momentarily flashing curious gold. Unlike the others, she wore an intricate headdress of woven crystal that marked her as a member of the ruling lineage. "Your pronunciation is unexpected for a human," she said, her voice melodic yet sharp. "I am Neriel, voice of the 7th house and appointed liaison to your kind." Ellis bowed in the traditional Thori manner. "The honor is mine," voiced Neriel. "You may dispense with formalities," she replied, rising to approach him. Up close, her features were striking, elegant angles framing eyes of deep violet that seemed to shift like liquid gems. "I wonder if your understanding extends beyond mere words." The challenge in her tone was unmistakable. Ellis had been warned about Neriel, brilliant, proud, and deeply skeptical of human intentions. She was considered the most formidable diplomat in the Thori hierarchy, having negotiated favorable terms with 3 other spacefaring species. "Understanding begins with words but lives in the spaces between them," Ellis responded, using an ancient Thori proverb. Her skin rippled with surprise again, this time shifting to a thoughtful emerald. "Perhaps you are not entirely without wisdom, Ellis Merritt." The formal introductions continued, but Ellis found his attention repeatedly drawn to Neriel throughout the proceedings. She observed him with analytical intensity, occasionally asking pointed questions about human intentions that revealed both her intelligence and distrust. Later, at the ceremonial feast, Ellis found himself seated beside her. "Your people believe they can simply claim part of our world," she said quietly, her skin now a subdued violet. "Yet you know nothing of our deepest truths." "I've come to learn," Ellis replied honestly. "Knowledge shared strengthens both sides." Neriel tilted her head, studying him. "Do you know about true names, human? Every Thori carries 2 names, one for the world, one for the soul." Ellis said carefully, "To speak another's true name without being told is considered either impossible or destiny." She smiled then, a rare expression that transformed her face. "Yes. Among my people, it is said that if someone speaks your true name without being given it, the stars themselves have chosen your bond." She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a teasing whisper. "Guess my true name, Ellis Merritt, and I'll be yours forever." The traditional joke was meant to highlight the impossibility of the task, but Ellis saw something beneath her mocking smile, a curiosity, perhaps even a challenge. He smiled back, meeting her gaze. "I accept your challenge, voice." Her eyes widened slightly, skin flashing a surprised coral before she composed herself. "Then these negotiations may prove more interesting than I anticipated," she said, rising gracefully. As she walked away, Ellis knew his mission had just become infinitely more complex, and infinitely more compelling. The union ceremony combined traditions from both worlds. Ellis wore the ceremonial robes of the Thori, while Neriel incorporated elements of human wedding attire, symbols of the unprecedented bridge they were building. The negotiations were merely the beginning, Ellis said as they stood before the gathered representatives of both species. The peace treaty, expanded and strengthened through their efforts, had been signed that morning. We have much to learn from each other, Neriel agreed, her skin glowing with a confident gold that had become her natural state since the revelation in the Hall of Echo. Their bond had become a powerful symbol. Already other humans and Thori were cautiously exploring cultural exchanges and deeper connections. Was it truly fate, she asked him privately later, as they watched the twin moons rise from the balcony of their new home, a dwelling designed to accommodate both species comfortably. I prefer to think it was choice, Ellis replied, drawing her close. I chose to learn everything about you. You chose to let me see beyond the surface. And now you're bound to an alien for life, she teased, her skin rippling with playful colors. The most beautiful alien in the galaxy, he corrected, kissing her lightly, who still surprises me daily. Neriel traced the ceremonial bonding pattern now etched into both their wrists, a permanent mark of their unusual union. The old texts say those who share true names share one destiny. Then our destiny is to build something new, Ellis said, something that honors both our worlds. As if in response, lights began to dance across the night sky, the rare celestial phenomenon the Thori called the universe's blessing. Streams of luminescence painted the darkness in patterns reminiscent of both Earth's auroras and Thori's soul colors. Ellis spoke her true name again softly against her ear, a privilege only he would ever have. Neriel responded with her own gift, a human phrase she had carefully practiced. I love you, she said in perfect English, as their silhouettes merged against the glowing sky, two different worlds finding harmony and shared truth. Ellis spent his days in the ancient Thori archives, granted rare access due to his diplomatic status. The true names of the Thori, he learned, followed linguistic patterns tied to their birth circumstances, family lineages, and soul essences. Each evening, he documented his findings in his private quarters. Researching our history, Ambassador. Neriel's voice startled him as she entered his study, her third official visit that week. Understanding your people helps prevent misunderstandings, Ellis replied, discreetly closing his notes. Neriel's skin shifted to an inquisitive amber as she browsed his collection of Thori texts. Few humans show such dedication to our ways. Few humans have met someone like you, he said before he could stop himself. Her skin flushed a surprised rose. Their conversations had grown increasingly personal over the weeks. She taught him subtle Thori expressions, he shared Earth poetry that delighted her. Your negotiation proposal impressed the council, she admitted, settling across from him, though many remained suspicious. And you? Are you still suspicious? Neriel studied him, her color shifting between thoughtful blues and hesitant pinks. I find you perplexing. You speak as if you understand our souls, not just our words. Ellis noticed how she unconsciously used the gesture dialect of her home region when relaxed, a critical clue. Each interaction revealed more fragments of who she truly was. Perhaps understanding begins with wanting to understand, he said softly. A dangerous philosophy, she replied, but stayed until the twin moons had risen high, discussing Thori myths that contained hidden references to true names. As she left, Ellis added new notes to his growing linguistic map. The pattern of her true name was beginning to emerge like a constellation gradually revealing itself in the night sky. The great hall of echoes fell silent as Ellis entered. The entire Thori council and human delegation gathered for what many expected would be a declaration of hostilities after the bombing. Neriel stood with her people, her expression carefully neutral. Despite their night together, the investigation had revealed the conspirators, but tensions remained at breaking point. The attack was orchestrated to divide us, Ellis announced. We've provided evidence to both governments, but words alone won't heal this rift. He turned to Neriel, who watched him with guarded eyes. There is an older truth that must be spoken. He continued, stepping toward her. Whispers rippled through the Thori assembly. Ellis had studied through the night, confirming the final patterns, her birth under the convergence of moons, her lineage from the crystal shores, the unique timbre of her voice, all pieces of the sacred puzzle. Ellis, Neriel warned, her skin flickering with alarm. Whatever you're thinking. I made you a promise, he said softly. Then, using the ancient dialect of her home region, he spoke a single word, a name formed of complex tones and resonances that seemed to vibrate in the air between them, the name that was her essence, her true self. Neriel froze, her skin blazing with brilliant white light. The assembled Thori gasped collectively, some rising to their feet in shock. Impossible, whispered an elder council member. How? Neriel breathed, trembling visibly. No one could know unless. Unless the stars themselves chose, Ellis finished. I heard it in your laughter, saw it in your gestures, felt it in the spaces between your words. Her skin shifted through a kaleidoscope of colors before settling into a radiant, pulsing gold no Thori had ever displayed in public, the color of soul truth. Acknowledge, the head counselor announced into the stunned silence. The ancient law is clear. A bond recognized by the universe itself cannot be denied, even between different worlds. The explosion ripped through the negotiation hall just minutes before the session was to begin. Ellis pulled Neriel behind a fallen column as debris rained down. Are you hurt? He asked, his hands instinctively checking her for injuries. No, she gasped, her skin pale with shock. This was deliberate. In the chaos that followed, accusations flew between humans and Thori. Extremist factions on both sides claimed responsibility, demanding an end to cooperation. The council sequestered itself, and human colonists prepared defensive measures. Ellis and Neriel worked tirelessly, using their combined connections to investigate the attack. Their search led them to a hidden bunker where they discovered evidence of a conspiracy between human corporate interests and Thori isolationists. They want war, Neriel said bitterly as they examined the documents. Everything we've worked for. Ellis touched her arm gently. We won't let them succeed. Their eyes met in the dim light. Neriel's skin shifted to a deep, pulsing magenta, a color Ellis had never seen her display before. Without words, she moved closer, her fingers tracing the contours of his face with wonder. This is forbidden, she whispered, but didn't pull away when he cautiously cupped her face. Their first kiss was hesitant, then transformed into something urgent and revealing. Ellis felt her skin warm beneath his touch, colors swirling in patterns that spoke more eloquently than words. Later, as they lay entwined, Neriel whispered, "What are we doing, Ellis?" "Finding truth," he answered, holding her close as her skin rippled with emotional colors that revealed fragments of her innermost self, patterns that confirmed what he had begun to suspect about her true name.